Alright, this is 7F class notes. Alright, we're solving rational equations. Alright, so here we have a proportion. Alright, we have a fraction equal to a fraction. Now remember, we have domain restrictions. Remember, we're not allowed to have any zeros in the denominator, so always look at your domain restrictions first, because you might end up with extraneous solutions. So here x cannot equal -2 and x can't equal 1. Alright, so let's solve this. The first thing we're going to do when you have a proportion is you're going to cross multiply. So we're going to multiply -6 times x minus 1 is equal to -12 times x plus 2. Alright, then it turns into a simple algebra question. So distribute your 6. And you're going to get -6 plus 6, -6x plus 6, distribute your -12, so -12x minus 24. Alright, solve the equation, get your like terms together. Alright, so I'm going to add 12x to my -6x and get 6x, and then subtract 6 and get -30. And then finally we're going to divide and get -5. Alright, -5 is not one of our domain restrictions, so we're good to go. Make sure you plug it back in and double check your answers. Alright, so that's when you have a proportion. However, most of them are not going to be proportions, so here's an example of something that's not a proportion. Alright, so what we want to do here, my goal is to get rid of my denominator. Alright, first of all, let's look at my domain restrictions. X can't equal -2, here x can't equal 0. So what's your common denominator? We have two different factors, x plus 2 and x. So my common denominator is going to be x times x plus 2. Now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply every term by my x plus 2. The reason I'm doing this is to get rid of that denominator, because I'm only really interested in what the numerator is going to be. Alright, so here we're multiplying everything by our common denominator to get rid of our fraction. Alright, what do we have left? So in my first term, I don't have a denominator, so I'm left with all of it. Here I have a common factor of x plus 2, so I'm left with 4x. And here I have a common factor of x, so I'm left with 9 times x plus 2. Alright, so we're going to solve this equation. So we need to distribute. And because it's a quadratic, we need to get everything on one side. Then we're going to factor our quadratic. What multiplies to give us -18 but has a difference of -3. So -6 and 3. Use the zero product property and get our two zeros. X equals 6 and x equals -3. Here again, check this with your domain restrictions, and neither one of these are domain restrictions, so they both should work. You can go back and plug it back into the original equation and double check. Make sure you didn't make any calculating mistakes. Alright, one more question. Alright, so here again. Alright, here when I see something I can factor, so I'm going to factor x squared minus 16 into x minus 4, x plus 4. So my domain restrictions are plus or minus 4. Alright, so this is my common denominator. So I'm going to multiply everything by my common denominator. Everything up here. So give yourself some room when you do this. Alright, so what's left? Here, my common factors are both of them, so we're just leaving me with my 6x squared. Missing a step here. There we go. Alright, let's see, we got this. Okay. So here, both of them cancel out, we'll leave me with 6x squared. Here, don't forget this is a negative, alright, a minus. Here, my common factor is x plus 4, leaving me with x minus 4. And here, my common factor is x minus 4, leaving me with 4 times x plus 4. Alright, now I want to distribute my 3x and my 4. Here again, I have a quadratic, so I need to get everything on one side. I'll put little boxes here that I can't see anymore. Alright, so I moved everything to one side. It doesn't have a GCF, so I factored and used the zero product property, and my two answers are -4/3 and 4. But 4 is in my domain restriction, so that guy's going to be extraneous. So my only answer is -4/3.